As we read this question, it might not end in the way that we expect. Since, as we go through the question stem, we might expect that we are going to be asked the height of the stack. Rather than simply reread the question, one technique is to scan it backwards, including the data statements. From statement 2, we can see that we don't necessarily know the height of the stack, not without statement 2 at least. Statement 1 tells us about B, and at the end of the question stem, we are being asked to compare A and B. Meanwhile, A and B are the numbers of each type of block. So we actually have a lot of information because we know also that there are 12 blocks total and we know their heights. Let's turn to the data statements separately first. Statement 1 tells us that B is greater than 5. We can construct some cases. In one possible case, B is 6 and A is 6. This is permitted because B is above 5 and the total number of blocks is 12. In this case, the answer to the question of whether A is greater than B would be no, since A and B are equal. In another possible case, B is 7 and A is 5. Again, the total number of blocks is 12. In this case also, the answer to the question is A greater than B is no. And B only goes up in the other possible cases with A going down. Hence, we will have sufficient information to answer the question definitively. Statement 1 is sufficient. Statement 2 tells us, translating into algebra, that 4a plus 5b altogether is less than 54. We know, meanwhile, that a plus b equals 12. We can use that to multiply by 4 on both sides and get 4a plus 4b equals 48. Here we're just multiplying both sides of the equation by 4 to get it into a form that is more easily compared with the first inequality. Now, subtracting that from the original inequality, we see that statement 2 is actually telling us that b must be less than 8. Then we can examine cases. In one possible case, b is 7 and a is 5. In another possible case, b is 1 and a is 11. Both are permitted by statement 2 because b is less than 8 and the sum of the blocks is 12, the total number of blocks. And in one case, the answer to the question, whether a is greater than b, is no, and in the other, the answer to the question is yes. Therefore, we don't have sufficient information from statement 2 to answer the question definitively. Statement 2 is insufficient. The correct answer is A.